Okay, so there's an article that's floating around, and it floated around a couple of days ago. I'm actually uh, reciting an article from the Star local media. Front Office Sports have talked about it as well. Stephen A. Smith's behavior is causing serious tension at First Take. All right. A different kind of drama is said to be brewing behind the closed doors of ESPN Sports Take. The show headliner Stephen A. Smith, who is used to being one of the stirring the pot type of controversy, appeared to be at the center of all this drama. Smith is reportedly seeking a $7 million raise on his next contract with the worldwide leader of sports once his current deal ends by next year. According to several people who work at ESPN, uh, they also talked to Stephen at the U.S. Sun. Uncertain surroundings on Smith's future at ESPN has certainly caused tension on First Take. Smith is the only co-anchor other than Shannon Sharpe to have created a rift between them and the rest of the show staff uh, from this report. The crew members describe the current First Take atmosphere as very frustrating, on the verge of becoming to be an impossible situation. Smith and Sharp are doing whatever they want, an anomalous source is saying, and this anomalous source is a staffer at First Take. Shannon has an extension deal, and it's good for him, but you can really see that both of them care more about their deals than about their coworkers and colleagues. I used to enjoy working here, but right now, in the wake, I wake up every morning not wanting to go in. Smith has recently gave a bold prediction on Caitlin Clark, uh, uh, Bronny James during the recent episode of First Take, but it seemed as though Smith's future and the future of the show may just be the controversy. So they're talking more about the show than the actual topics at hand. So let me get into this real fast, real quick. Okay, when I first heard about this, and while I read the article, then I saw a video on this, and the person who did the same thing what I'm doing is reading the article to you guys. Um, the person came off as the lady came off as, well, these are just regular staffers. They're insignificant. They just going to have to just go with the flow. Uh, Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith deserve to be talking more about their deals because they are the headliners and they're the stars of the show. And I get all of those points. I'm not saying um, Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe you know, shouldn't be thinking this way. And they're alphas, okay? And they know they're the star of the show. And, Shannon Sharpe has already secured his bag. And Stephen A. Smith saying, well, I brought Shannon Sharpe over here. What about my payday? Now, it's been reported that ESPN is going upwards of 90 million, and this is the whole contract. But what they're, lingering on is Stephen A. Smith wants to be the highest paid personality on ESPN. And that's going to mean that they're going to have to up the ante to like $7 or $8 million, okay, per year. And that will give him the nod of being the highest analyst on sports on ESPN. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Here's my thoughts on anonymous people, and they are upset with the current situation that they find themselves in every day, and this, that, and the third. I think people are, when they read this article, I think people immediately think that these are the hanger-ons. They're a bunch of nobodies, and they can easily replace these people. There's 100 people in line that would love to be in a situation that that these people are already currently find themselves in. And to say all that, I think that this speaks more in bounds of not only the staffers are frustrated with Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith, but I think the actual talent that's in front of the camera is getting frustrated with Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith. Okay? Now, there had been a report out there that J.J. Redick and Stephen A. Smith wasn't eye to eye on a lot of things, and it was unfriendly a lot of times when they worked together. And I've heard several other reports of other people that contribute to First Take. And I think what broke what they say, the straw on the camel's back is there was a lady, I think her name was Morris Nutt. I forgot her name. She was a WNBA player, and she was talking about the drama between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. There's really no drama between Clayton Clark and Angel Reese. It was more of the people around it that was trying to make drama. And she made an analysis that, Stephen A. Smith, you don't even really cover the WNBA that well. And ever since she stuck to her guns, she's appearing less and less, to the point where she's not even on the show no more. And I think that's more to the fact of Stephen A. Smith does not want to no longer work with her because, she showed him out. And if you show Stephen A. Smith out, he's going to show you the door. If you don't believe me, ask Max Kellerman. Okay? But with all that being said, I think this article, where there's smoke, there's fire. I think not only the staff is growing irritated of Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith, but I think the people that contribute to the show are growing more and more frustrated of Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe. And it's not about their deals. I think everyone that works there and everyone that's in and outside of ESPN knows that Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith deserve their money. No one is complaining about that. What are people complaining about is the added, I guess, machismo or the ego. You got two very egotistical guys, on that show, and that's Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith. And that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing. And sometimes most people can't dealing with that on a day in and day out basis. Some people will just, tolerate it and just keep it pushing. But there are a lot of people have grown frustrated with Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith. They come off as know-it-alls, and they're the biggest thing since sliced bread. And look at their contracts. I mean, they deserve to feel that way. But I do feel like not only the staffers behind the camera are growing frustrated, but even the on-air talent has grown frustrated. Okay, I want to get back to Stephen A. Smith's deal, and I think if they give in to Stephen A. Smith, they're going to set a precedence that the next on-air talent that they're going to be looking for on, some other network or whatever, and, they're going to be asking for not only that, but even more money. Okay? It took a lot of money for them to broker Pat McAfee. And when they broker Pat McAfee, that's when ESPN, well, not only Pat McAfee, but Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, you started to see a shift in ESPN's popularity. Okay? And then they really shot to the moon when they got Shannon Sharpe. And they really got Shannon Sharpe because Fox Sports 1 didn't know how important Shannon Sharpe was. Now they definitely know how important Shannon Sharpe is. So I feel like ESPN is in a place where if they lose Stephen A. Smith, it's not a big hill of beans. And I really think if you've been reading the articles and really paying attention, you're starting to notice that ESPN is not bucking down. They're not just going to just give in to Stephen A. Smith. You know why they're not going to give in to Stephen A. Smith? Because they feel like, hey, we got plenty of talent here that can replace Stephen A. Smith. We got Pat McAfee. We got Troy Aikman. We got Joe Buck. We already got Shannon Sharpe. Okay, we still got Molly. There are a lot of personalities that first take machine will continue to run and run and run. And ESPN is in a predicament like, we don't really care if you go to Fox Sports 1 and pair up with Skip Bayless. You're not going to be a real threat to us in the ratings because we have the better talent. We're in more markets, so we're good. If you go and pair up with Skip Bayless, and you give a second light to Undisputed with, and I do feel like old heads that love First Take back in the day when they had Skip and Stephen A. Smith, I think they're all going to go to Undisputed to see if they can bring that old thing back, sort of say. Okay, even guys like me. But still, people are still going to go to First Take. I just don't, so the notion of Stephen A. Smith hanging this, well, I'll go to Fox Sports 1. They'll give me the same money you guys are giving me, plus they'll give me more because they need a savior over there. And ESPN said, okay, cool, go over there. Okay, but I don't think even if Fox Sports 1 do get Stephen A. Smith, they're not going to be able to pay out everybody. And they're still on the back pages. All the good they have done with their shows, except Undisputed, they're still light years behind ESPN. And I don't think they're going to be able to pay everybody over there. It would not surprise me if Colin Cowherd leaves Fox Sports 1 and goes to ESPN or does his own thing. It would not surprise me if Chris Broussard, use leverage and go to ESPN or threaten to go to ESPN. Yes, the threat of Stephen A. Smith saying, well, I'll go to Fox Sports 1. I don't think, 4 years ago, ESPN would have, okay, yeah, we need to really pay him this money because he's the only thing that we got going. Okay. Now, since they got all these personalities, they're like, okay, go to Fox Sports 1. And, Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, I think a lot of people would gravitate to that concept. But I think the numbers will go through the roof. I think their ratings will go back up, but they'll still be behind First Take. They have been there and done that. I think Shannon Sharpe is more popular than Stephen A. Smith on social media, just popularity alone. And they still couldn't take the ratings away from ESPN First Take when it was just Stephen A. Smith and the others. First Take was still killing them in the ratings when they had Shannon Sharpe at Fox Sports 1. So what changes if Stephen A. Smith goes to Fox Sports 1? I don't think Stephen A. Smith is that popular than Shannon Sharpe. I don't think a lot of people are going to stop watching ESPN and go to Fox Sports 1 and follow Stephen A. Smith. I do feel like the ratings will go up. The numbers will be back popping, but they're still going to be behind ESPN First Take. So, yeah, that's all I got for today, guys. Tell me what you think. Comment in the comment section. I'll see you later.